autocrats come to power, there's a 10-step plan, and we're at about step 9. So step 1, you have a free and fair election, but it's the last time. Because once that person wins, they don't intend to let anybody else or anyone else take the power that they have amassed for themselves or for their ticket. Second thing they do is that they exceed the realms of executive power. So you see a bunch of executive orders coming out claiming all kinds of powers that a president doesn't hold. Number 3, they then take the competing versions of power and try to either make them complicit or neuter them. So you have a Congress that basically has forgotten they got a job, and then you have a judiciary that's either complicit or neutered. And it's neutered because if the president, if the executive refuses to follow the rules, then you've neutralized the judiciary because the judiciary doesn't actually have enforcement power. Number 4, you go after the media. With the media, you make sure that you demonize and criticize the legitimate media so that nobody trusts it. And then you create an echo chamber so that the only truth that people hear is the truth you want them to hear, even if it's not truth. Even if you put truth in the name, it's not true. Then you start to gut government. You fire all of the people who know how to do stuff. You break democracy by making people think they don't need it. And the best way to do that is to make sure that the things that they've learned to rely on are no longer available. Because then you become the only way they get what they want. So you fire the CDC so that vaccine rates drop and the disease rises. You fire FEMA so that when there's a natural disaster, the only way you get what you need is by begging for it. So you gut the civil service so that no one can actually do the work that democracy is supposed to protect us for. At the same time, you hire a bunch of people that you call loyalists, and you put them in place so that they don't hire anybody who doesn't agree with you, but you also put them in positions of power. So then your next step is that you go after the people who do the good work. So you sue law firms, you sue philanthropies. Then step 7, you got to have someone to blame. They've blamed everybody. They've blamed women, they've blamed children, they've blamed people of color, they've blamed immigrants. They are doing all of that because they know at step 7, if you can push that forward, then we're fighting each other and fighting for survival instead of fighting for our country. And then you start to incentivize private violence. That's step 9. Maybe you send the National Guard and Marines and you militarize kidnapping people off of the streets, throwing them into detention camps, and then arresting people who dare to challenge you, calling any question obstruction of justice. Civic participation, the First Amendment, is the 9th category because if you can militarize your response, you also convince people it's not worth the possible pain of calling out the problems. And once you've gotten to step 9, step 10 is easy. You make sure no one ever votes again because now you've got them captive, now you've got them scared, now you've got them poor, and now you've got the power. That's autocracy in 10 steps.